Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us here today on Naturally Brown Woman. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. You know what? First of all, I want to say I've been following you and watching your videos on Instagram, and you have some very unique styles, and I love the way you blend color together. I think one of my favorites is when you had the Bantu knots. I do think that style
Okay,
is just so cute, and I really love the
thank
way it
you.
just kind of framed your face and everything like that. So you've been doing YouTube or videos for a while. So tell me exactly how long you've been doing YouTube videos.
I started YouTube in 2016. It was long put off because I had been on my journey for a while. And, my friends were like, you should do YouTube, you should do YouTube. And I'm like, well, how am I going to do that? And I'm like, I don't have a camera. I don't have, because I was an avid YouTuber. I think Andrea's Choice was like one of my first, made, like, I loved watching her videos. She started off with hair and then she started doing makeup. And, it was just those people that I used to watch, but I could never find anyone with my hair type or who was blonde, because I was blonde at the time. So, I wanted to know, like, how do I keep my blonde and also be natural, because those were my struggles. So I could never find that. And so I think that's really what motivated me to start my YouTube channel, for people who may be having the same concerns I am, maybe looking for, what they have going on. I can find that in myself. So that's what made me start my YouTube channel. So I just kind of just got it started. But I had been on a journey for a while up until that point. So I just kind of just jumped in at that point, shared my previous journey, and then what I was trying to work on from that point.
What was your natural hair journey like for you? Did you have to transition from a relaxer, or was that
Yeah.
something you did? Okay, tell me about that
Yeah, I
experience.
actually had to transition from a relaxer, and then I had to transition from heat damage, because when I stopped getting relaxer, I'm like, okay, I'm natural. I don't have a relaxer, but I was going to the salon every 2 weeks to get my hair straightened. And I was also, I had color in my hair. So, and I was getting that more often, because now I do my color once a year. At that time, I was doing my color maybe every 2 months, or whenever I would see my roots growing, I was like, I don't want to see my roots. So I would get color, blow dry, flat iron, all in one sweep, multiple times a year. So my hair just slowly just started and
Wow, yeah,
I'm just like, well, okay, because I'd been blonde with a relaxer. That's a no-no.
yeah, yeah.
So my hair fell out from being blonde and a relaxer. So then I grew all that out, and my hair was like maybe up to here. So I grew out that color, and I'm like, okay, we'll try this again once I grow out that color. But then I was still my hair all the time, getting color. So I still wasn't figuring out, like, well, why isn't my hair still flourishing? Because my hair was beautiful when I grew out the color without so when I had out the color, my hair was beautiful. But then when I add color into the mix and I was still doing the heat, I'm like, okay, well, this isn't working either. My hair still isn't flourishing. So I started doing every 3 months with the flat iron, and then every 6 months, and then that led to like a year. And then I was like, okay, well, this works. So let's do both. I can't have in color. I can't have relaxer in color. If you want one, you just have to. So I choose color. So I think I went 3 years with no heat this last time before I got my hair straightened for my baby shower. I'll probably go another year maybe, but now that I know what my hair responds to, and that's why I try to tell a lot of people, like, just do what your hair is telling you. Your hair is going to tell you what it doesn't like. So if you put two things together, maybe even one element might make a big difference on the health of your hair.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like you definitely went through some trials and tribulations with your hair. Especially when you're
Yes.
talking about color and relaxer, blonde, no
Hmm.
blonde at that, because that's a whole nother
Yeah.
process in the coloring,
Yes.
you know.
Hmm.
So what was it like when I know you were thinking that, okay, every time my roots show, I got to cover that up. I got to cover that up.
Mhm.
When it hit you that, hey, maybe that's not so bad to not having to do it so often.
When I stopped wearing my hair straight as often, because then I was like, well, you can't even really tell that my roots are grown out when I wore my hair curly like this. So I was, well, if I'm not wearing my hair straight, maybe it's not as important to get my roots touched up as often. And then I also noticed, the health of my hair was a lot better when I waited and then got my color process. It just looked a lot better versus, fried like it was looking previously. So when I started seeing that my hair color and my hair looked better when I waited, I decided to just do that. And then versus not wearing it straight, wearing the curlier sets, you couldn't really see that my roots had grown out as much. So I started to wait a little longer.
Yeah, yeah. And what now I know you we say you specialize in color. Tell me, what is that attraction to color that you love so much? Because I saw some really cute stuff, especially like saw something with some red tint in it.
Oh, yes.
I
Yes.
think you had almost like a finger style, or your curls were really, really tiny in that photo I saw on your Instagram. So tell me about your passion for color.
Well, naturally, my hair color it's like a sandy brown. And growing up, like all of this just be blonde in the summertime. And so I'm like, well, why can't my whole head be like that all the time? So that's when I initially went into getting my hair dyed blonde. I think I was like 20 in college. But I didn't do it the right way. So I did a bunch of chunks, and it was all bad. But initially, having my natural hair color kind of turn blonde in the summer made me always want to go blonde. And then when I went red, that was actually a mixing two colors together to get like that ginger color. So I did a few strand tests because my nerves were through the roof. I'm like, red, wait a minute. So I mixed blonde and red together to get that ginger color. But then I found that red fades so fast. So that's how I ended up back to blonde. I'm like, I can't keep up with this red. Even though now that they do have the glosses that you can put over your color, I did that a few times with my red and kind of brought it back to life. But ginger was definitely my favorite hair color so far, but we're back to blonde now.
Sandy hair. You say you have sandy hair. That's your natural
Mm-hmm.
color. Does your
Mm-hmm.
mom
It's
have
like
sandy
sandy
hair?
brown. Yes, my
Mhm.
mom does. Mm-hmm.
So what have you learned over the years, or regarding color and your do's and don'ts? What are some tips you would tell somebody regarding
Um, a definite would be to just decide to color your hair by yourself without any professional advice. Um,
you said
that I wouldn't
don't
do.
don't don't
Definitely
do that.
don't do that. Consult with a professional. Um, always do that. And then do just test first. Like even with box dye that I had done at home, a lot of times it's easier to have someone help you because you can't see the back of your head, especially when you want that, great coverage throughout, even coverage throughout. You don't be afraid to get a helping hand, even if it's somebody who doesn't know if you know what you want, you direct them, okay, just do this. But yeah, do strand tests, consult with a professional. A lot of colorists are now specializing in natural hair. So someone who's, familiar with the health of hair, and they also want to help you color your curls. So I think that's always best to consult with a professional. Search and yeah, don't be afraid to try new things.
Yeah. I often, one of my color challenges is finding the right color. Now I've experimented with some temporary color just so I can kind of get a feel of it. Like I've tried some of that temporary. It's like a wax color. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if you ever, what your thoughts on that, but I'll like,
I've seen that, but I
yeah.
never tried it. I do have some colors that I do want to try from Cream of Nature. They're not permanent colors, and they're like they're
Mhm.
blue, purple, some real funky colors that I probably would never dye my hair permanent. I do want to try those, But I did a colored gloss I have tried, but it only takes to previously colored hair.
Oh,
So it
okay.
didn't change my natural color. It only took to the color that I already had. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And those pinks that you were talking about are the ones that I tried. They're like the pinks, the purples. There was some greens. It was like several different colors. And I did go to a professional. And
Okay.
when I now this is a two-strand twist that's out. That's kind of big and a couple of days old, several days old.
It looks great.
Well, thank you very much. But sometimes I do a finger style, which some people define it as wash and go, but is really defining the curls. And when I do that, I'll sometimes have those different colors, say on the ends, maybe just on the ends, or just in a patch. And when I'm feeling like really funky and I just want to be stylish, do a little purple. And I'm a AKA sorority, and sometimes I'll put a little pink and green on the tips, or you kind of hide it underneath. So when you just shake it just a little bit, the color, it'll fall out. So I like playing around with those. And again, those are temporary that, will come out with the wash. But sometimes, and that's safe for me, but sometimes I do want to have more permanent color. And I'm like, okay, what's the color for my skin tone? What matches, just really kind of flows. And sometimes I have a, challenge with that. Any advice on selecting the right color for?
I would suggest a strand test. And believe it or not, when I went red, you know how naturally your hair sheds. So I would just take that shed hair and kind of like keep it together, which is, it may be a little tedious, but it gives you a better idea. So I had about maybe 15 strands, and I tested those 15 strands with the color.
Oh wow!
And you put it to your face, kind of see, how it's gonna look, because you don't, and because a lot of people don't like the test what's already on their hair, because what if you don't like it and we cut that hair off? So I would, anytime I washed my hair, I would save a few strands of shed hair for my samples, and just, the box, the hair dye, I think it was like $8, $7 or $8 at the time, and however many times you have to test it to make sure it's right, because it's gonna be on your head.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good idea. Never thought about that, but it does make sense to do that. Never thought about that. An interesting way to do it. So tell me, when you, you're doing your videos, have you ever had one video, one style that you just really, really love? Just, like, hey, I love this video. I love this style.
There's a style that I call, or a lot of people call, twist and curl. I actually have a photo on one of my business cards. It's a style that I've been trying to recreate, but then I have to remind myself that at the time my hair was in layers. It had a lot of different things going on. So whenever I try to recreate that, I frustrate myself. But it's like, you have a totally different head of hair now. But it's where you take a 2-strand twist and then you put a perm rod on the end. And so at the time I was transitioning out the rest of my heat damage. So my hair didn't curl up the ends. So like now I can do a twist and it could just curl on its own. But at the time I needed the perm rods. And even some people don't need them. It just gives it a different curl, and you can create layers. So if I do a twist here, I can stop here, and then the one next to a little lower, so you can create shape instead of getting your having to need layers for a certain look. You can create the layers with the perm rods and different lengths. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, nice. I did see one, and I'm not sure if this is the one you're talking about. We'll definitely pull the photo of it. Reminded me of a 20s style, 1920s, 1930s style. It had those deep waves that kind of laid on the side.
Oh yeah, I think that was the large perm rod sets.
Yeah,
that is another one of my favorites, because it's quick, and I don't have to use as many perm rods. I only have to use about maybe 10 at the most perm rods, because like the larger the section, the deeper the wave, because it's going to be a bigger section of hair going around versus a small one. When they all clump together, I love that style too.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, I couldn't do roller sets. I had to go to the salon. Like when I was transitioning, I would just go. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do heat, but I have to do something. So I would go to the salon faithfully every 2 weeks and get a roller set. And they would laugh at me. My cousins would laugh at me like, why you keep getting this grandma roller set? I'm like, you don't see my vision. You need to wait. It's a bigger picture here. So yeah,
Okay.
I did them for a while. So, but now I can do them myself. So
Yeah, yeah. You know, have you had any videos that you're like, you did but never made the air because you're like, no, this just did not work this time?
there was one, and I ended it up just because I wanted to see what people thought. I call it a fail. So it was a flat twist out, and took it out. It wasn't dry, so it was, but it still had some definition. But it didn't look like I knew it could look like. So
Okay.
I was like, great. I'm like, but I'm like, let me just see what they say. So I uploaded anyway. A lot of people say like, what failed? This looks great, but I knew what I wanted it to look like.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So what is it like when you do hear back from people who are viewing your videos and they're like, you know what, I like this, I feel better now, or I can do this. What is it like, hearing that?
I love it because that's really why I started my channel, to help people with different things that, you may not think of, or anything that's going to help with your healthy hair journey. For example, like I just uploaded how I blow dry my hair, which is trying to, do it a safer way without breakage. And someone replied that it really helped them because they seen my video about that, and they said that they've been doing it since then, and it really helped the health of their hair. And so that's really why I do this, so that I can, help people on their journey so they don't feel discouraged, like, there has to be a better way. And I want to, show people that there is other options that you can help your hair.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And one of the missions of Naturally Brown Woman is very the same as yours, is being able to empower women, especially during that
Mm-hmm.
time of, going natural or transitioning from relaxed hair to, back to natural, as we would say, and
Yeah.
not get discouraged. I've known many who've traveled the journey and they went back and it's like, why? A really good friend of mine, she had the prettiest locks of curls that I've ever seen. There were big, pretty loops, and when she got got the relaxer out, when she grew the relaxer out, and her hair was short and these big, pretty loops. And one day she calls me and she says, "You're not going to believe what I just did." I
Oh
was
no.
like, you know what? Goodbye. I do not want to talk to you right now. This conversation is now over. Because I knew, because she would put in her own relaxers. So I knew that she had gotten a box and laid into
Oh
it. And
no.
she did. She backslid all the way back.
Wow.
And but today she did, she tried again. She did start that natural hair journey again, and she
Mm-hmm.
is natural today. Her hair is absolutely beautiful,
That's
beautiful, and
great.
it's amazing what lies beneath a relaxer. Underneath, we have
Mm-hmm.
the prettiest hair, the
Yeah.
prettiest hair. And I've heard things, and I'm sure you have, because you have a great book called "I Can't Go Natural,"
Yes.
which I love that title. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
you've heard many women who, who just think they can't go natural. My hair is not like that. No, you have good hair, and that's the only reason you can go natural. And it's like,
Right.
no, no,
Mm-hmm.
we all have curly hair,
Yeah.
and it's a process, to go natural. But I always believe that once you're committed, and that's what I did. I was like, I'm committed to going natural. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
do it. I'm gonna see what my natural curly pattern looks like. If for some reason I cannot manage it, handle it, then I'm
Right.
gonna do blow dry, and I'm just gonna do a straight blow dry and have it bouncing and lots
Mm-hmm.
of body, and I'm just gonna go with that.
Right.
But I was not going to go back. So I think it does take a commitment.
Yes. And then like a lot of people think that just because they're natural, they have to walk around with, a big afro. And it's, that is up to your preference. Like I love big hair. Like I would love wearing my hair big all day, every day. But a lot of people, don't want to wear their hair like that. A lot of people want more sleek styles, more, manageable hair.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's different ways to be natural. You don't have to do what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Like for me, I never did wash and goes. I hated them because, coming from having damage, my hair never sat right. So I just completely took them out of my mind. Like, I just can't do wash and goes right now. So I never really went back until recently. But I try to tell a lot of people, when you're transitioning and you're looking on YouTube at these videos and you're looking at someone like myself or someone who's been natural for years, you really can't be so hard on yourself and compare your hair at that time to someone who's been natural for a long time, training their hair to different styles. So it's just a matter of you just taking those steps, use those YouTube videos as motivation, but don't let it
Mm-hmm.
discourage you because your hair at that time isn't doing that for you.
That's good. That's good advice, because you do see, and there's a lot of great videos out there that the hair is looking flawless after
Mhm.
the first two strand twist. And I remember my first two strand twist. I was like,
Oh,
oh my god! The first time I tried to do a finger style, and I was like, oh no! I was in tears because like I was so frustrated. Like I'm never gonna get my hair. And I would go to the salon, and my stylist was very encouraging in that, like, hey, you'll be able to do this, just give it some time, you just give it some time.
right.
And in time, I was able to do it. Now I'm still working on perfecting the salon sleek look,
Mhm.
but I'm still working at it, but
Mhm.
you can learn to do it, don't
Yeah,
be frustrated. And there's so many different styles out there,
so many,
so
so
many,
many.
and we have all kinds of product now that we
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like products, it's like overwhelming. And I try to tell a lot of people, like, whatever you're cleansing your hair with, just go with that and kind of use that whole line. Like, don't feel like you have to have this gel with that mousse with that cleanser, because a lot of these products are made to work together. So if you have a shampoo conditioner that you love, use those stylers because they all work together.
Yeah, yeah. So tell
Yeah.
me your book. Tell me about your book and what made you decide to actually to write a book, to actually put the book together. And
I decided to put the book together because I get a lot of questions, and I can talk about hair all the time. And a lot of times, a lot of people like to see something in their visuals. Like, I want to see, okay, what do I have to do? Step one, step two. So I figured I'd put together like a product guide, some hairstyles, some basic natural hairstyles, or even some more advanced styles if you want to take it to another level. But just the basic styles that I used to do, because I used to be called the twist out queen, because that's all I did was twist outs before I could master those perm rod sets. So, I have different varieties of styles, treatments that are necessary to bring your hair back to life. Just, things that people probably don't know. Oh, I missed out on that step. Or I didn't know I should probably take a heat break if I'm suffering from breakage from constantly flat ironing my hair. A lot of people don't realize that when you give your hair a break from something, that it's gonna, come back to life. Some people think, oh, well, it's done, I'm just gonna have to cut it all off. Like, I transition without a big chop. Like, you don't have to chop off all your hair if that's not what you want to do, because when you style that hair, you can't tell what's transitioning and what's grown in. You can't see the difference once it's styled. Yeah, when you wash your hair, you can look at the damage in itself. But once you style it, in a style that's going to last you for a week, so you don't have to manipulate it every day, that's going to help you.
yeah, you know what? You said two great things there. Number one, that you didn't get the big chop. I didn't do the big chop either. I did the grow, cut,
Yes. And
crop.
I just kept my hair at one length, and I just
Yeah,
every month cut it off until it was all gone.
exactly. And I got to the point where I couldn't do certain styles with a perm on it, and I was ready to really get rid of the relaxer.
Uh-huh.
But I would do the braid out styles. I would, do
Yeah.
braids and then just, take it out, and it looked crinkly, so you couldn't really tell the two textures. So I got
Yeah.
to the point where I was ready to go ahead and cut the rest of the relaxer off of my hair.
Hmm.
So yeah, so there's different ways to transition. And if you could bring out a point of when your hair was unhealthy, you said you don't necessarily have to cut it off, but there's things you can do to to I guess get you to that point, or help get it back healthy. What are some things that you do?
Doing less, because it takes a lot to really put damage onto your hair. So it's gonna take, less is more, is what I say. So just not doing anything to your hair is gonna be beneficial in the long run, especially when you're transitioning. It's best to set your hair in a style and let that style just be there for 3 or 4 days. And not really do, because once you start to manipulate your hair every day, because a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I have to moisturize my hair every single day. No, because when you're transitioning, all that manipulation is going to cause breakage. Because if you have, your hair that's growing in, and then you have all this damage, the, point of demarcation is going to break. So, a lot of people do protective style. A lot of people do braids. But if you don't like braids, then you're just like, well, what do I do? So I try to get people to do a lot of low manipulation hairstyles to where you can set your hair and you have a break from dealing with your hair in between wash day, which is what I like to do. I don't like to deal with my hair every day. So I can see how that would be something someone's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of doing hair every single day, you now have a 7-month-old,
Yeah.
a little girl, a beautiful baby girl. So what are some of the things that you are looking forward to doing to her hair? I know, or that you do with her hair now. What's your routine with your
Right now she's just doing the little baby wash and go. I did put some finger coils in her hair one time just to see what it would look like in the morning, but it really didn't do much. She has really tight curls.
Mm-hmm.
So like her hair is about like this long, but it shrinks down really tight. So I actually just got some little baby hair ties. So my mother says she wants to see some ponytails. So
Okay.
I got to experiment with some little ponytails maybe this week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to her cute little ponytails. Little pigtails. Like when she gets older, I'm looking forward to that so much. Yeah.
So you'll have
And I
to.
have to learn how to braid.
I said you have to post some of those too. Oh, you haven't learned the braid yet?
I don't
Not yet.
I don't know how to French braid.
Okay. Well, neither do I.
So I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can learn together. Maybe we'll do a tutorial on how to, French braid our hair and,
Yes.
show everybody, okay, this is what you're supposed to do and this is what you're not supposed to do.
Right.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Jasmine, thank you so much for talking with us on today. Tell us, number one, where we can buy your book, where we can buy that, and where we can just kind of follow you and reach out to you.
You can buy the book at jazzcoloredcurls.com. And there's also a link on my Instagram and Facebook.
And before we leave, tell me what keeps you motivated. How do you keep going, doing your videos and the
Helping people. Helping people. I always, as long as I've been doing this, I always still get questions and people who feel like I'm really helping them. So helping people in their natural hair journey and being on a new natural hair journey myself. I'm trying to grow my hair out. This keeps me motivated because I want to, be on a journey with you and help you, and we can do this together.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. You've given so much wonderful information. Hey guys, be sure to check out Jazz Colored Curls. Look her up, follow her on Instagram, check out her YouTube videos. She has a website and a Facebook page, and you'll be able to see her on Naturally Brown Woman as well. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.